All right, let's get started with two-point perspective. So previously we were calling this a corner view. And remember, whenever we're working on any type of box, whether it be a house or whatever, no matter how complex or how many boxes we put together, it's always that rule of 3 sets of 3 or 4 lines that are parallel. So in terms of our sets, and we had learned this in the power of line, that the verticals, we will call the vertical lines A. Okay. So these are the vertical lines. So this is A, A. Now this particular box has 4 lines in each set. So these are the A lines. And remember, if it's an unseen or hidden line, that means that this box, that this line for the box cannot be seen, or is what we call an invisible line. So this line and this line and this line are broken. They are invisible lines. They exist, but we can't see them unless this was made out of glass or plastic or something like that. So, and this is, we're seeing this slightly from above. We can see the top. We can see the right side. Pardon me. We can see the top. We can see the left side. And we can see the right side. So these are our 4 vertical lines. And so that group is done. And then we have these lines that are coming up and to the left. These are also parallel lines, but as we learned, parallel lines are now going to be going back to a vanishing point, or in this case, 2 vanishing points. So we're going to have these lines that, again, that are going up and converging. Now this horizon line would be off my paper, which is fine. And there's many times when we're drawing objects, especially just one object, that the horizon line will be off our paper if the object is small. If it's large, like a house or something, well, then the horizon line would be in there. This is coming off this line is so thick, and then this one is coming off the bottom of it. It looks kind of weird. So, but again, we have, there we go. We have these lines right here that are going up and to the left. Because we're seeing the top of the box, these are coming up. And we've got this one right here as well, our 4th line, that's coming up and to the left. So there's those 4 lines. And we learned that if, for my notation, this is just my personal notation on this, if it's on the left of this Y, here's our Y, see the 2 arms of the Y, and this is the length of it. This is already A, and if it's on the left, well, then the left, we're going to call that family B. And we have B here, and B here, and B right there, and B over here. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are done. And then we have these other lines that are coming up and to the right. And that's because this is, I'm looking down on this slightly, it's below my eye line, and because it's below my eye line, I can see the top. Okay. All right, so these are coming up. Let's skip over that B so this doesn't go through the middle of it, but I'm gonna have to ignore that for a minute because, anyways. But this right here is coming up. These lines are coming up and to the right. Okay. And they're diminishing to that far distant vanishing point of our horizon line. And again, this one right here, again, is the 4th. Whoops. Is the 4th one in that family. And this family, if it's on the right side of this, we're going to call this C. So this one right here is C. I'm trying to tuck this in here, but this is, of course, for that line right there. And then this is C right here for that line. That's C. And then this right here is C. And this right here is C. So we've got B, 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 and B, C, 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 and C, A, and A. Remember, whenever we are drawing in two-point perspective, we are going to have one set of lines. We're going to have one set of lines that are verticals. Okay, that are vertical lines. Then we have one set of lines that go left. They're heading to the left. None of these lines line up truly horizontally because it's two-point perspective. Both sides are going away from this represents a horizontal plane. All right. And then the last set, we have one vertical, one set that's going left, and we have one set that's going right. Okay. So whenever we are drawing in two-point perspective, we have angles. We have one set of angles that go to the left, and we have one set of angles that go to the right. Okay, and then we have the verticals. So when I'm dealing with two-point perspective, it's either a vertical line, a line going to the left, or a line going to the right, and that is it. Now again, this is seen from above, but here's the wild part. So if I flip this around, like so, well now, this is as if I'm seeing this as this is above my head. This is now the horizon line. These are coming down. This is coming down into the right. This is coming down into the left. And I can see the bottom side. This would be a box that's above the horizon line. So by inverting this, I get a different box. If I rotate it this way, I can see it from above. If I rotate it this way, I can see it from below. Very cool stuff. So here's how we're going to start this. We're going to start with a piece of paper, just like we did before. And with this piece of paper, we're going to grab our T-square. Okay. And with our T-square, we're going to approximately in the middle of the page, to set this up, we're going to set our horizon line. Okay. So there's our horizon line. And to make sure that I don't forget that, and again, sometimes people are like, oh, I don't need to do this. It really helps to get this into the gray matter. You draw it, then you tell yourself what it is, and it stays a lot better. And I'll tell you what, so repetition, that's the key. So we've got our horizon line. Now we even have, because there's always a center of vision, so I can put this in here. So this is our center of vision. Let's see if I'll write this up here. Center of vision. Okay, so that's our center of vision. This is our horizon line. Now remember, when we're doing this, we want to keep in mind that this right here, we're not going to use it. But where the horizon line and the center of vision cross, that's a vanishing point. I'm not going to label it right now because I don't want to confuse you, and we're not going to be using it. I'm just pointing that out. Okay? So the vanishing points we will use are, we're going to come over here as far as we can, and we're going to put with my, and we're going to use our nice little T-square. Do not do this by hand. Try to do this as clean and as nice and as you possibly can stand to make it. And we're just going to put these two little T's on the outside, the farthest that we can away from one another. Now, when I first learned perspective, I got to admit and it's the same thing whenever anyone starts to learn it, but I remember very distinctly thinking, what does this have to do with anything? Why am I learning this? And not only that, but sometimes it looks so bizarre. Does this really work if it looks so distorted and bizarre? There's a lot of things we haven't talked about with perspective yet. There's a lot of things that go into perspective we're not going to cover in this class. However, I'm just going to mention right now, I'm going to get a different pencil to do this, maybe this flesh-colored one, though that might be too light. But if I want to keep the distortion down so my boxes don't look highly distorted, then what I want to do is I want to use no more than 50% of the area between the two vanishing points. So, and this is on either side of the center vision. So, and I'll turn it into a circle because our vision, we see our eye is round and therefore we actually see a circle. But we want this circle to be, I don't think this is quite, it's close enough. But if I keep everything within here, it won't be distorted at all. Now, I'm not going to worry about that right now, but I'm going to call your attention to it that if it stays within here, and this isn't a great circle, but I think you at least get the idea of what I'm doing. I'm drawing a little blind. That's not helping. I haven't warmed up today with my lines. That's not helping. But the idea is that if I stay within that side of this circle, the boxes will look, like normal boxes. Once I start getting outside here, they will start to distort more and more. I'm actually going to make boxes outside of here so we can see some of that, but understand that whenever you have two vanishing points that are equidistant from the center line, that's key if they're equidistant, because we are going to talk about multiple vanishing points, in which case that's a little different. But if I've got two vanishing points that are equidistant from my center of vision point that where it crosses the horizon line, we want the area 50% between those two vanishing points. Okay? And that's very important. Now, with the 1 point perspective, we started with a square. But in 2 point perspective, we don't start with a square. We start with a line, because what we see is we see the corner of the box, and that corner of the box is our height line for the box itself. And so we're going to go ahead, and once we have this set up, I'm going to want you to start. We want at least 3 boxes below the horizon line, 3 boxes on the horizon line, and 3 boxes above the horizon line. Okay? So we want you to go ahead and have at least, and then the 10th one you can put wherever you like. And again, the boxes don't have to be cubes. They can be any sort of box. But I'm going to go ahead and let's just recap. Well, first I'll show you how to, I was going to recap, but I think first we should show you how we're going to create a 2 point perspective box. So I'm going to start with a line, and maybe I'll put a line right here on the center vision, because in 2 point perspective, I mentioned this in the last class, but just to make sure that we understand this. Now, 1 point perspective, we're never supposed to touch anything on the center vision, but because the box is turned a little bit, it doesn't matter. It doesn't make a difference. And so what we're going to do, so in 1 point, don't touch anything on the center of vision, right on that line. In 2 point, you can. It doesn't matter. So, and that's again because the object has turned, and so we can see a little of both sides. So it looks very, very different. So whenever we're creating a 2 point perspective box, we would take normally this line, and the line goes all the way back to the vanishing point. And you take it all the way to both vanishing points, the top and the bottom. So the top and bottom go to the right, and the top and bottom go to the left. And you'll get these long V's. But if we did that everywhere, very quickly our boxes will have so many lines crossing each other, we're going to get very confused. So here's what we do instead, is whenever I create a line, I'm already deciding how long am I going to make the line? And so I'm still lining this up with the vanishing point, but now I'm only going to draw as much of the line as I've already decided I will need. We're creating arbitrary boxes here. We're not trying to match a particular type of box, so it's all up to me. I can make this however I like. So I'm going to go ahead and draw this, coming up and to the left, top and bottom, but I'm only going to draw this out as much as I think I'm going to use. And I don't believe I'm going to use any more than that. So we now have two of our sets of lines. One set going, two lines in each set. And these two lines are going to the left, and these two lines are going to the right. We should also, it's a good idea to go ahead and label these. So I'm going to label this as my left vanishing point, or left VP for vanishing point. And then I'm going to go ahead and label this one as my right. And I'm left-handed. So obviously most of you would probably be using your opposite hand. But this is the right VP. Okay. Again, to keep that in my brain, that we're using the horizon line and one vanishing point on the right and one vanishing point on the left. Well, now that I've got both of these going to their respective vanishing points, I need to make a decision about how deep is this box. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and make this almost like a cube. So I'm going to go ahead and say this is how far it goes. That's where this stops. That's my second vertical, by the way. I have two more verticals left. I'm then going to come over here and say, well, how much is it on this side? And I'm going to say, all right, well, I'm going to go ahead and drop this line right about there. So this right here is my, it's not quite a cube because this is different distance. It's not as deep as it is wide. But now I have three verticals, and I have a line that's to the left of the center line. This is the edge of the corner, the front corner. This is one, corner to the left and one corner to the right. So we have a line that's to the right of the central line and one line that is to the left of the central line. And if this line right here, if this line is on the right, the top and bottom go to the left vanishing point. So now I'm not going to draw the line going all the way to that vanishing point. I'm only going to draw a portion of it like we talked about before. And not only that, but I'm going to make sure that I don't cross outside this edge. That would create a tangency whenever two lines meet. Our mind envisions a dot or a connection point, and that's going to be confusing. So I'm only going to bring it out no more than 2/3 or whatever in the side this second box. And I'm going to do the same thing up here. That went a little long, but I now have 1, 2, 3, 4 lines going to the left. That means this one's done. Not the box, mind you, but these 4 lines that are parallel are coming out and meeting at this distant vanishing point. Those are done. I have also 1 and 2 lines going to the right. I need 2 more lines and then a vertical to finish this up. So let's take the top and bottom of this line that's on the left, and the top and bottom of that line on the left will go to this right vanishing point. So let's go ahead and do that like so. Get that lined up. And that will come over here. And then we're going to take this and line this up like so. And that will go there. And what we're looking for is where the left line and the right line cross up here. That's my back corner. And then where this bottom left and bottom right line cross, that's the back corner. And now I'm going to draw the line. Now this is I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 lines going to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4 lines going to the left. We've got 3 verticals, and I need 1 more line to finish this. And this is going to be my vertical. Okay, this is the back corner. Now, if I have something where these aren't quite lining up, split the difference, meaning take the distance that is wrong between them and cut that in half. And if I have to change something, change the diagonal. Like this is supposed to be down here, but that wasn't straight, so I moved it over, and I would then take this diagonal and connect it to that new point. Okay, always change the diagonal. Don't make this angle. It has to be truly vertical. Vertical, 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 vertical. It's got to be 4 vertical lines. Okay, now we're going to clean this up, because these are the types of boxes that they have in the illusion books. And our brain really will do wild things with these. So to help us, we're going to go ahead and we're going to make this a checkered line. And I'm probably going to lighten it. It doesn't look like it's very checkered because it's so dark. So let me lighten this first. And if I was drawing this with graphite, I could erase it. I could lighten it. I could erase out the spaces between the boxes. So this is an unseen line. This needs to lighten. This needs to lighten. I also don't need this past this back corner. This is the back corner, so I'd erase away that line. This is the back corner. I'd erase away any extra bits of line as much as I can. Can't erase these entirely because these are out of, again, Prismacolor. And the reason I do the Prismacolor is the lights shine off the graphite, and it's hard to get graphite to show up really well as easily as it does with these. So it's really great for contour lines. So again, these are the broken lines, meaning that these are unseen lines. These are the lines that are back and behind. Okay, that's what those mean. And then we're going to darken the seen lines, so I can see the front corner, which is going to get darker. Okay, I can see the right corner. Okay, definitely see that. I can see the left corner. Put your pencil down, lock it in place, bring the triangle to it. We then are going to darken this top edge that can be seen. It's the top left edge. This edge can be seen. It's the top right edge. This is the bottom edge. Go ahead and darken that. This is the bottom edge here. We'll go ahead and darken that. Like so. And then the top. We have the top up here. We'd be able to see the back of this and the back of that. Okay. Now this is a box with all 4 sets of lines. And the reason we use all 4 sets of lines are there are times when we need to know what's going on with the back left corner or the back right corner or where the footprint is. Again, this would be the footprint of this cube. This is where this cube sits on the ground. That's its footprint. And sometimes when we first start, and not even just sometimes, but when you're learning perspective, part of it is understanding, again, what we see and learning how to see and understand better what we are seeing, which seems like double talk, but it's really not. And then we have, again, the back. This is the front left. The corresponding back side would be the back left. If this is the front right, the corresponding back side is the back right. This would then be the top. And so if we went ahead and shaded this to be able to perceive what it is that we have here, this would be the left side. Let's say we have a light coming from the right or something like that. And this would then be right there, the left side. We can darken this a little bit. Use a little bit of that black or what have you. And this is, again, the black Prismacolor. This will help darken this color down. So we have the left side. Maybe I'll use this, just the black again, very, very lightly, very, very gently. And this will be supposedly the half tones or the middle tones or the mid-tones or the middle values, all meaning the same place for those that took the magic of values. So we have the left side, the right side, and the top side. And there's our 2-point perspective box. Now again, when we have 2-point perspective, I'm going to do this with just 3 lines. In other words, 3 lines in each set. But it doesn't matter if something touches the center vision in 2-point perspective. It does in 1 point, but it doesn't in 2-point. However, we still don't want anything to rest right on the horizon line. It still looks bizarre. If I was drawing a box, and this box, this is the 2-point perspective equivalent of what we did in 1 point, but it still looks bizarre. So this would be something that's above my head but resting right where my eye line is, and which is also the horizon line. And so this box that we have would look like this, which is technically correct, but looks terrible. It does not look like it has depth. It's flat. And again, we would never draw this because it looks flat. Now, I can't see the top side. This is coming down to the left. This is coming down to the right. I can't see the top side, but I also can't see the front side. Or, pardon me, I can't see the top side and I can't see the underside is what I meant to say. Not the top side. I can't see the top side. And this doesn't really have a front. It has a right side and a left side. I think I said the front side. That's not what I meant to say. We can see the right. We can see the left. We can't see the top and the bottom. The right angle and the left angle all line up onto one angle that's the exact same and looks bizarre. It looks flat. And so again, when we draw, we want to be more aware of what we're looking at. Okay? So this would not be an accurate, well, it would be accurate, but it would look strange. It would not be desirable. That's a better way of putting it. It is accurate because that's obeys all the laws of perspective, and that's how something would look if we positioned it just like this. But we wouldn't want to. It would not be desirable. It would be a bad idea. And so what happens if we do this? What happens if we have something, again, if it's on the horizon line, I could sit up, and if I sit up, that would raise my eye line a little bit. It would push this object down just a scotch. Or if I slumped in my chair a little bit, then that would lower my eye line, so this would move up. So you want to do one of two things. You either move it off a little bit, or you bring it up a little bit. So I could just bring this past the horizon line, because let's say I sat up just a little bit, and by sitting up, that went ahead and made this come below the eye line or the horizon line just a little bit. And once we've done that, we can go ahead and say, all right, well, let's go ahead, and the top and bottom goes to the right side, and the top and bottom goes to the left side. Now the top is already doing this, but the bottom does not. So we're going to create these lines going to that top and bottom. All right. These are the corners. Now again, this would be a box I can only see two sides. Why can I only see two sides? I'm not going to do the rest of the box or draw the rest of the box, but there would be the bottom, there would be the back left, the back left, the back right, the bottom, the top, 4 sides that we would show, but actually cannot be seen. I can't see the bottom because it's below my horizon line. I can't see the top because it's above my horizon line. Okay, and I can only see the front left and the front right. That's all I can see, 2 sides. Okay. So that's how that would look, and this would be accurate. Again, if I wanted to, I could put the other lines in, but I just wanted to show you what that would look like without the lines in. But sometimes people are like, I don't know, that looks kind of weird. Let's finish this out. And you could go ahead and take the top and bottom on the left, go to the right. If the line's on the left, the vanishing point that they go to is on the right. If the vanishing point, this is the vanishing, or pardon me, not the vanishing point. If this line is on the left, sorry. So this is on the left, and so these go to the right. I'm left-handed, and I mix up my right and left sometimes, and always have. So I apologize. Thank you for bearing with me. If it's on the left, the top and bottom go to the right. If it's on the right, the top and bottom go to the left. So we're going to go ahead and take this, and that right there is about the corner, and then the bottom line, the bottom of this line on the right goes to the left vanishing point. Okay, and so. All right. And then where they meet, which is about right here. Oh shoot, that's a solid line. It's not supposed to be it's not supposed to be solid. Because I can't see it. So what is it supposed to be? It's supposed to be a broken line. So it's an unseen line, so it's a broken line. Okay. So again, this is that box. And we can darken up the sides we would see and all that good stuff if I so chose and all that. Okay, so there it is, and we're going to show you a page full of 2-point perspective boxes, and I'm going to finish out the last couple, but the idea to remember is that to create this, we start with the corner, and then we take the top and bottom to the left, and the top and the bottom to the right, and then we're going to go ahead and only draw the line as long as we need it. This one showed it going all the way, but we're gonna bridge the lines, or shorten, only draw as much of the line as we need. And then we went ahead and dropped this line, said, hey, the line stops here and the line stops there. It was an arbitrary decision because this is an arbitrary box. But once we've done this, we go, okay, well, this is to the left of the corner, so the top and bottom go to the right. This is to the right of the center line, the top and bottom go to the left. And that's how we draw these boxes. So let's go ahead and bring that larger page in, but go ahead and get your paper out, tape it to your board, get out your T-square, draw a horizon line, draw the center of vision. Horizon line is approximately in the middle, center of vision is approximately in the middle. Draw the left vanishing points as far on either side of the paper as you possibly can. And remember, if I want to keep this very believable sorts of diminishments, believable angles on the boxes, we keep it within that 50%. If we start to get close to these, they really get distorted. And maybe I'll go ahead and show you one of these real quick. Let's go ahead and draw this. and then the top and bottom go to the left, and the top and bottom go to the right. So I'm just going to go ahead and create a box again with the 3 lines in each set instead of 4 lines in each set. All right, so the top and bottom will come over here. And basically the angles just get a little more extreme. When I say the distortion, that's what I'm talking about. There's certain perspectives where the distortion really gets wild. We will discuss 3-point in this class, not right now, but later on in the class we'll talk about 3-point perspective. And yeah, the further you get out in that perspective, the more distorted it gets. So we're not going to get a ton into that. It's just something to call to your attention. If you want something to seem more plausible, it's something to keep in mind. If you're trying to distort the perspective, you can distort it as much as you like. There are some people that, you know, are working in where they're trying to create the illusion of alternate reality, or, you know, where the laws of physics aren't quite working the way that we understand them, or other reasons that you might use more distortion. You know, a lot of the 3D games these days have a more distortion to them because they're making this circle, how much they're making that circle bigger, so it's not 50%. It's expanding beyond that, and things start to distort when you do that. And if you're doing it for a reason, that's fine. But in the beginning, it can be a little disconcerting because we're like, oh, this just seems so random. It's not random. The distortion begins to happen again as you leave. Now, this doesn't look like an awful box, but if you look at these angles, so there's our box. This is our corners. But this box right here is very similar to this box. And if we look especially at this angle over here, these are very extreme. And the jumps from these 2 angles, which are our open angles, and these 2 angles, which are more closed angles, there's a bigger difference than what's going on here. And that's the distortion. And if I took this box and moved it over, and there's a way of doing that where you can just move this over, you know, straight over in space, the more it moves outside the box, the more extreme these angles will get. The more it's inside, this box is inside that 50% sort of circle, the more it will look more naturalistic in terms of those relationships of the angles. So that's why we try to keep it, you can try to keep it in here. Now, the page I'm going to have is going to have them all over the place, but understand that when we start talking about really representing stuff like houses that feel like they're not distorted, we have to keep, you know, how close they are and how much space between the vanishing points. We have to keep that in mind. It's not a big thing for right now, but further down the line, further down in this class, it will be. So let's go ahead and grab that other piece of paper and take a look at all these different 2-point perspective boxes.